Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about the Palworld versus Nintendo lawsuit, a big update on it, and the Palworld's starting defense in this actual lawsuit. We're going to be on Dexerto for today. Thank you for the article. It is written by Jessica Philby, and it'll be down in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. The title goes, Palworld fights Nintendo's lawsuit by claiming Pokemon's patents aren't original, which honestly is not a defense I necessarily thought they would be saying, but it kind of makes sense when I think about it a little bit, but I'm sure the article will explain it a little bit more in depth, because I wonder if in legal terms original doesn't mean what like that means. Honestly, I'm assuming what it means is that the Pokemon patents they didn't invent the thing that they are patenting, or other games are doing what they are patenting. So something like that. This is what I assume that in a legal term, that's what that means. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So just before we get into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and once we do, I'll be doing a Q&A video. So please subscribe if you'd like to see that. If you're interested in other things I do, I also do a podcast called Two Buds One Podcast, if you'd like to check that out. Linked in the description below. The Palworld and Nintendo lawsuit isn't slowing down, with Palworld fighting back against a legal action by claiming they are not the only ones to copy Nintendo's patent, which is 100% true, because the things that the Nintendo patent covers is very generic. So it basically many games cover their patents. When Palworld was released, it quickly linked to Pokemon with gameplay similarities, as players can throw Palsters to catch pals. I mean, that's literally the only thing that it is in the same of gameplay, because I mean, it's a real-time survival game. It's a survival game, not a turn-based RPG like Pokemon, but I understand what they're trying to say. And use them in battle or create items. I mean, in Pokemon, you can't use Pokemon to create items, I don't think. I mean, they can find items sometimes, but yeah. Shortly after it was released, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Pocketpair, the developers behind PAL. Pocketpair refuted the claims, saying that they'll be fighting the suit as much as possible and continue to do so. Now we've got the first major glimpse at Pocketpair's defense, which argues that the patents in suit shouldn't have been granted, as multiple games already use these features that Nintendo are suing for. Which now that I hear that full defense, that totally makes sense, because Pokemon does not own the concept of throwing a ball to a creature and capturing them. So many games have been doing that before Pokemon. In fact, Pokemon copied it from an old JRPG, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the name now, unfortunately. It was Dragon Quest, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the JRPG was Dragon Quest. And where they actually copied some of the actual monsters, if I remember correctly, too. So it's not wholly a Pokemon idea. Now, to be fair, they expanded it greatly. And I would say if people think about a creature capturing game, they think Pokemon now. But that doesn't mean they invented it. In Pocketpair's argument, as shared by Games Fry, they explained that Nintendo's patents in suit shouldn't have been granted initially, as there were prior games released before the date of the patent that were made that covers what Nintendo claims to have invented, which makes a lot of sense. Pocketpair highlights similar games to back up their invalidity contentions. These include the previous title Craftopia, Rune Factory 5, Titanfall 2, and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, all of which allows players to release or capture a monster or item and fire it in a specific direction. That's true. This directly links to one of Nintendo's patents in suit, JP7545191, which details capturing creatures by releasing fighting characters, monsters, or capturing balls. They also use the Nukemun mod for Fallout, Octopath Traveler, and Monster Hunter 4G to argue the irrelevancy of their other patents in suit, which focuses on capturing characters. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like Nintendo is literally stealing from other Nintendo games. Pikmin 3 is a Nintendo game, and Capcom, which is a big Japanese company because they do Monster Hunter. And I'm pretty sure the company that makes Rune Factory is also a Japanese company, and their own game Craftopia, which was released before Palworld. Titanfall 2 is interesting, but I guess it's also because it's like the capturing a monster or item. I'm assuming Titanfall 2 is like the grenade launcher stuff, or like shooting items towards things, because you can do that in Titanfall 2. So yeah, so it covers like all different types of genres as well. Lastly, the defense references Ark and the Legend of Zelda in regards to the patent JP7528390 that highlights the smooth switching of riding objects. Yes, this is their thing, basically saying that they invented mounts, if I remember correctly, which is stupid. That is probably the craziest claim in all of them. Like in the other ones, you can kind of argue that yeah, Pokemon and Nintendo might have that, but they did not invent mounts. if that's the one I'm thinking of. Pocketpair is arguing that so many other games have used this feature, which is also already known elements of games before Nintendo filed the original patent application. Currently, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are seeking 5 million yen plus late payment fees, but their response to the defense remains to be seen. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, in my non-legal opinion, it sounds like a decent defense, because the biggest thing about these patents is that if these patents are proven to just not be legit, or shouldn't be allowed to for them to even have them, that's a really good defense. And I'm glad Pocketpair is just swinging, like they're opening very like swinging, because they're quoting a lot of games and in different genres as well, which is the big thing, because if they were just using their own game as an example or something like that, but like Craftopia, Rune Factory 5, Titanfall 2, and Pikmin 3 are all very different games, and they all have a capture and release system, and the mods for Fallout, Octopath Traveler, and Monster Hunter, which is, once again, all three very different games. And then they even list their own games like Zelda and stuff like that, because obviously, I wonder what's the point of listing their own games, actually, like Nintendo's games, because if the patents were legit, it'd be fine for Nintendo to use them in Nintendo games. But I guess I wonder if it's Nintendo that holds the patents or the Pokemon Company, because they're not the same entity, which is, I wonder if that's why they're doing it, like, quote, like using the Zelda as an example. Or actually, you know what they're probably doing? It's because the Legend of Zelda has done this since, like, what, GameCube? You could ride Epona in the N64 Zelda games, couldn't you? So like the smooth switching of riding objects has been in games since like the Nintendo 64. So like there's no way. Yeah, I mean, that's probably why they're doing this, because it's like these have been happening for literal decades. Like I said, this one is, I think if this is the right one where they're talking about the smooth switching of riding objects, I think this is the easiest defensible one, because so many games use it. But it's weird to me that they're using The Legend of Zelda as an example, because it's a Nintendo game. So I'm not entirely sure how that works legally, but it kind of makes sense to me. And the capturing characters ones, like, so many games do that, so there's no way. Honestly, I'm interested to see if this is immediately, like, how Nintendo responds to this, because at least from my point of view, it's, I mean, to be fair, I've always been on Pocketpair's side when it comes to this, so I'm very biased. I also completely disagree with patenting game mechanics in general, so like I said, very biased in this suit. But I'm just curious how they're even going to try to defend this, because I just don't see how you can, when it's very obvious and there's a lot of evidence to show that Nintendo didn't invent any of these things. Though I wonder if inventing and patenting things are different. So I wonder if that's the route they're going to go for. But I feel like because it's used in so many different types of games, you can't patent something that is considered like common, which is true in video game patents in general. Like you can't patent the idea of shooting a gun, that type of stuff, or like the first person camera perspective, or, certain controls and stuff like that. You can't patent stuff like that. So that's definitely what they're going for, and it sounds reasonable to me. And the fact that these patents even existed, it was a shock when I initially heard this. So I think it's a really good defense, especially at the start. They're swinging right away, because in Pocketpair's best chance is to win this as soon as possible. I know that's not going to happen because Nintendo, and they can just stretch this out for as long as they can. But Pocketpair, while doing well, doesn't have Nintendo money, so they need it to end as soon as possible. And hopefully this will at least make it harder to fight, because the longer this stretches out, the more likely Pocketpair will need to either settle out of court or like just give in to the demands, because they're just going to run out of money, which is going to be unfortunate, but I don't think should be that big of a deal overall, hopefully, because once again, Palworld was widely successful, and a lot of people bought it and still buying it, and it's not even fully out yet. It's only in early access, so hopefully they can still keep the funding going, and so they can keep fighting this lawsuit, and hopefully it goes Pocketpair's way, because patents like these, I just hate. I hate patenting game mechanics. I think the example I always use is the Nemesis system that Warner Brothers patented, that they used in the in the Lord of the Rings games that they made, and it was only ever used in 2 games. It was such an interesting system with the AI like leveling up and knowing, remembering you, and all the promotions that the orcs could get and all that type of stuff. And it's never been used ever again because no one can use it. And it's really dumb. And I think it would have been such a cool system to have in other games, but no one can use it because it's patented by Warner Brothers. So I hate patents like this, and I hope that Nintendo loses this lawsuit so Pocketpair can continue making games, and then other people don't have to fear for this. Because there's also other creature capturing games that are coming out, and Nintendo isn't going after them. So I think it's very obvious, hopefully, in the court's sight, is that the only reason that Nintendo cares is because Palworld was too successful. They got too much attention. So hopefully the courts will look at like that. But it is Nintendo in a Japanese court, so it's hard to bet against them. But I hope they do see what Pocketpair is going for, and I hope it continues to go like this. And I'm glad Pocketpair is swinging right away, and I'll be keeping up to date on this as much as possible. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to support me, please subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you guys think about this whole Nintendo versus Palworld stuff, or Pocketpair versus Nintendo. I do think this is a good first step, but it's going to be a long road, I feel like, and hopefully the treasury doesn't run out for Pocketpair, because that's honestly the biggest problem that I can see in the future, is that Pocketpair just runs out of money, because Nintendo's never going to run out of money. So it's all about the war of attrition, basically, and how long Nintendo can drag this out if they want to. If you'd like to follow me on other places, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, all at the Techno Jelly. Thank you everyone for watching today's video, and I'll see you in another one. Goodbye, everyone.